Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm here with Martina. Martina's, would you like to say hello?
Of course. Hello, how are you? Welcome.
And we are your hosts for Everyday Ordinary, Extraordinary Women. We were inspired to create this podcast after pondering on this question. What would a world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually, we're very quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody's losing. Depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. Those are really the only two options. And neither of those options make us feel very good. So here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from our first impressions. So we invite you, the listener, to go beyond your first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner in everyone if we're willing to look. And so today we have with us Colleen Fairchild, and we are so excited to have you here with us. So go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Thank you for the reminder to unmute myself. Hi. Uh, I don't know. This I feel like is the hardest thing to do is introduce myself because I'm not used to having eyes on me. But I just had a birthday the end of January. I turned 59. So it's a big deal for me. I feel like it's a really big year. It has me really contemplating, ending out the decade of 50s and kind of entering into that transition of turning 60 and what the next decade is going to look like. My life is really in a transition too, so it's kind of timely. So it's very interesting. I'm very reflective. There's parts of me that are sad and anxious, and then there's parts of me that are really excited about what the future looks like. So it's a fun place to be. I'm a mom, probably first and foremost. I've been a mom since I was 18. Um, I have 6 children. My oldest is 40, and my youngest is 22. I have 3 granddaughters and 1 grandson. Um, I am currently and I'm just starting the second year of a 2-year meditation teacher training, pretty intense with Tara Brock and Jack Cornfield, which I'm loving. I have done a bunch of things over the years. I'm an LPM and still an LPN, which is a licensed practical nurse, real estate agent, still life coach, health coach. I don't know. I'm always dabbling in learning, and yeah, I don't know. I don't like to really attach myself to labels because I just feel like I'm still turning into whoever I'm going to be. I'm not just one thing, and I've learned that about myself. Like I want to be labeled as one thing. I like the freedom to be whatever I feel like being in that day.
Which is
I,
so beautiful. It's so beautiful that you get to do that, right? And the lifelong learner like Christina and I, right? Never ends. So thank you.
Colleen, you are just the most beautiful, stylish. Just for those of you who don't know, in our little circle of friends, Colleen is our Jackie O. But you have the biggest heart and you're the most compassionate. But honestly, it's your unstoppable. You're just always go, go, go. It doesn't matter. You're there for everyone. You're just I just can't say how much I love you. And I'm so happy to have you here with us today. Um, like getting to celebrate you even though I woke up with slanted eyes and could barely see, it didn't matter. Like, I'm so happy to be here today to celebrate you. And especially because you have a hard time celebrating you. It makes it extra special. So soak it all up today because we are so happy to have you here with us.
So, Colleen, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
Well, maybe Christina really does know me. Because I feel like that's the thing. Like I just have this ginormous heart. Like I really love hard and deeply. I really, really care about people, and um there's really nobody that I can think of that I haven't met that I don't deeply care about. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. All right. So tell us something funny or silly or embarrassing.
So I listened to your first to Danielle on your podcast and you guys, and so I had a feeling this might be one of the questions, and I was really struggling. So I had mentioned it to my daughter, and she's like, "I have one. What about the time?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, many, many years ago, we were in this house. My two older ones were probably not even home, but I was going out and I had a babysitter, and my four younger kids were little. And I was like, got everybody all set and left and got out in my car, which was either at the time a huge Suburban or a huge Expedition because of all the kids that we had to fit them all in there and all the car seats and all the things. And I start backing out of the driveway, and I this is so embarrassing actually to admit, but like I felt a little tension as I was backing out, and I pushed a little harder on the gas to back out. This was before backup cameras. And I ran over my babysitter's car. Like like literally my car was like kind of on top of her hood. Like no damage to my car at all, but her whole hood was like pretty much crushed, and I was just in shock and beside myself and horrified, and I was hysterical crying, and I went running in the house, and she was like, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I ran over your car." And she was consoling me. I was the one who should have been consoling her, but she was like, "It's okay, it's okay." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like I don't let's call that insurance, like all these things, like trying to fix it." And she was like, "Just go. Like just this is nothing's gonna change. It's drivable. Like I'll deal with all this later." And it was just like, I don't know. Like, I think I blocked it out of my head. That's why I couldn't remember it. But I'm wondering if that's why backup cameras were actually invented, because they weren't around then. So that was, it was awful. But yeah, it happened.
And now you're laughing about it.
Yeah, thank God. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. Thank God.
And
And
we've all had those moments, right? Those blind spots in our life, literally, right? Where
Yeah.
and you've got kids and you're distracted and stuff happens. But to be able to laugh about it is a huge victory. So
and how beautiful that she could tell you it's okay, we'll deal with it later, right? There's really nothing about it to do, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in those moments and let them become so big. And not that it's not a big deal, right? Of course it is, and it's a wake-up call and everything, but it shows us when we're not present. Unfortunately, it was a car and not, you know. Um, but you know, looking at her reaction is just really as beautiful, right? It's a wow, okay, yeah, there's really, you can still go and enjoy. We'll deal with it later. It's still gonna be here. And as humans, we have this tendency to just hold on for dear life to, oh my God, I'm such a bad person, rather than, no, it's okay. Stuff happens.
yeah. It's also a reflection of you too, how she reacted.
Thank you for that. Yeah, she was very extraordinary. She was more than a babysitter. I mean, she was quite the person.
And you know how Debbie says, in a world of it takes one to know one. Tag, you're it. Yeah. So Colleen, tell us, what do you consider your superpower?
Well, I've been told that my hugs are pretty superpower-ish, that they're healing hugs. I think when I've thought about it, what I discovered was that like leaning into a hug and like holding it longer than normal, there's something that melts in the person. I mean, it's very healing for myself as well because I'm receiving as well as giving. But I think people are pretty surprised when you don't want to let go quickly and they actually like melt into it, and there is definitely a physical love exchange that occurs. And so my one of my sons definitely has it as well, which is he and I can lock a hug for a long time because neither one of us want to let go. But and I think another superpower of mine is that I wouldn't say always, but I think often I have the ability to be with people's sadness and pain. Like I'm able to be present with that, and I don't know. I'm sure it's feeding a need in myself where I yearn for that time to be able to express those parts of myself as well. And so I feel pretty comfortable with um being with people when they're in some state of suffering or despair or something like that, and just kind of holding space for that. So I feel like that's a little unusual, and it's a gift. Mm.
It's very special. And I think that's part of what makes your hugs so spectacular is that you really see people where they're at and love them where they're at. And people get that from you. It's truly spectacular to be loved by Colleen. I can't say more about that.
And what popped in my mind is, if you hold a hug longer than just like the usual cursory, quick, whatever, there's something about being seen and being recognized in there that is just priceless and just so beautiful, because we all want that. We all want to be acknowledged. Like, hey, I'm here. Hey, you're here.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Colleen, this one is a kind of you can pick part of this, you can be all of the same. So I'll read them to you and you can kind of decide how you want to answer this one. So what was your biggest lesson you've learned? Or what made you who you are today? Or what took the most courage? Or when did you take a stand for something that mattered to you? So it could be all, might be all in one answer. You could take part of that, however you want to answer this.
I mean, I feel like there's so many lessons, some of which I can't even recall right now, but I think my kids are such big teachers to me. So probably listening more um, is a big lesson, slowing down, being present. Um, because being present just offers, and I'm learning more and more about this inside the mindfulness meditation teacher training that I'm in. It allows you to be present to all things, some of which we wish weren't there, or we wish were different. But it also like has you be present to the moments of joy, because it's such a fleeting thing. Like, and we miss it sometimes if we're not paying attention, and it's could be the simplest thing. Um, and if we're not present, then we miss it. So I try to practice that more often. I'm not perfect at it, and I'm, work in progress, but yeah. Something I'm proud of. I think that was the question, or something I stood for. Um, I feel good about, my daughter has dyslexia. My youngest daughter has dyslexia, and um, the school that she was in really wasn't just meeting her needs. Took some time, but we were able to advocate for her and have her move to a private school for the last 2 years of high school. So I feel good about that.
So you have 6 children, you have grandchildren, you have tons to do. What do you do to fill yourself up? Like, what fills you up?
I mean, what fills me up the most, I think, is intimate conversations with people where we're like, we don't have an agenda, we don't have somewhere we got to go, we're not on a time limit. It doesn't happen that often, but I truly am filled up by that. I don't know why. It just is something that fills my heart and soul and being. Um, Currently, not that I'm doing it that often because of the weather in Connecticut, but I love walking in the woods. There's something about being around the trees that just, I don't know what it is, but they fill me up. Um, and meditation has been pretty powerful thing that I started the past few years, and that's been really, really. I find that when I don't do it regularly, that I'm missing something. So obviously, it's in some sort of way. And my kids,
Beautiful.
being with my kids and my grandkids, and that's a given for me. But yeah, that's makes me happy, fills me up.
Mm-hmm.
It
Such a
goes,
good. Good,
sorry,
Martina.
it goes back to that mother energy, right? Like the holding space, like the and nature is your element, right? That's Mother Earth. It's the ultimate mother in a way, right? So it's just like you go to her to be recharged, and she gives you the juice to hold everything and everyone, and you know that love, those deep conversations, that's all part of the mother, which is beautiful. Thank you. Sorry, Christina.
No, that was beautiful. So, Colleen, tell us about a time you took a chance for love. No, it doesn't have to be romantic love. It could be self-love, passion project, however you want to answer that.
I think I've well, first thing that comes to mind is I got married the weekend after I graduated high school. So I think that was a pretty big chance I was taking. Um, I was 18 and naive and young and, you know, all the things. So I think that was quite the chance. I think it was a good choice, and we created quite a life together and had our 6 children. And I think each time I had a child was kind of taking a chance on love too, because I remember being pregnant with my second child, like very concerned that I didn't know how I was possibly going to love her as much as I loved my first child, because the love I had for him was giant, so much. And it just was, and everyone was like, oh, you will, don't worry. And I'm like, I don't know. But I did. It was easy, and it was easy each time. And my kids to this day will constantly be like, who's your favorite, or whatever. Really, I don't have one. Like, you're all my favorites. I at different given times, depending on the situation, maybe I feel a little closer, but the amount of love I have for each of you is equal, and which is logically thinking, it's just like, how does that even happen? How do you have that much love for that many people? But you do. Um, and then on a smaller scale, several years ago, we had two Yorkies that both passed away, and we were kind of exploring the idea of possibly getting another pet. And so I fostered puppies for, I don't know, maybe just a year, but there was several. And I remember the first one getting like attached to, and I didn't even have it for that long. It was maybe like 2 weeks, but like being like crying and being so sad when I had to give it to its new owner. Um, but then I did it for some more, and I was like, well, this is, and I had the choice to keep one if I wanted to, but I didn't. But it was, just loving on this animal while it was waiting to find its new owner. So that was a little heart tugging, but I'm sure there's more. But
It's beautiful what you're sharing, because it's like we have this idea. It's like the man-made concept of this finite love that is out there, right? And as being a parent, like you get that there's no limits, but then translate it to every area of your life, right? There is no limits, really. And I know I said that before, is like love is the ultimate protection, right? But we think we need to guard our heart once we got hurt, or because, oh my goodness, my heart is gonna break again, rather than knowing that that's the only cure and that's the only protection we have, is to love fully, and it's not gonna hurt more or less if we hold back. So it's beautiful.
that actually brings to mind, I'll share quickly too, when my dad was passing away, and some very hard, vulnerable conversations that we had during the process. But it was like, I knew that if I didn't say them then, they weren't going to be said. So that was, taking a chance. Like, I want him to know. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that until you just were saying that.
Yeah. And what a gift to your dad, right? I mean, what a gift to the world when we can love without ever holding back. And we all have our little or big traumas and our little or big shit going on, where I was like, no, not going there. Let's build a wall around our hearts. Yeah. So, Colleen, what are you most grateful for?
Hmm. So many things. I, I feel like I'm so much more present to how grateful I am for everything lately, which is a gift of this age in life, I think. So for all the people that are younger and dreading getting older, there's just so many heart-opening things that happen as you get older. Um, so much more things that you're noticing and become aware of. But life itself, honestly, I'm just so grateful that I was given the opportunity to be here and experience love and the gift of my children, obviously. This always makes me emotional. I'm sorry. Um,
Don't apologize. All good.
yeah, I mean, there's really nothing that I'm not grateful for. It's, I'm really not. Like, even, I mean, you and I, all three of us have had all the conversations about the hard parts and the gifts in the hard parts even. I mean, it's much easier in retrospect to see them. When you're living them, it's something different. But like the people I've met and the friends that I have, like, just extraordinary. My parents, the places I've lived, the homes I've lived in, my body, as much as I criticize my body, and I'm so grateful. My body can do all the things. It had children. It, like, I'm just, there's really nothing I'm not grateful for. So I don't, my life, I'm very grateful.
It's so beautiful to be moved to tears by your life. Like, how extraordinary. So if you had a magic wand and could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
Ugh, so hard to pick. Um, I think probably, and it's a combination of, because I feel like for me they go together, an openness and a willingness. Like I feel like if you cannot be so attached to the thinking or your expectation, and this is part of my own life lesson, I think, because I think I came in a little too attached. So I feel like I've been able to step back and see the bigger picture. But to just challenge your own thinking and to be open to what others have to share what they think, or um, and then be willing to possibly change your thinking or do the thing, take the action, or um, say the hard thing, or you know, be willing to show up for your life. I think it just could change everything. There's a million characteristics I'd love to bestow upon people, but I feel like those two would be great gateways to a lot of other things.
Beautiful. Thank you. Who or what do you want to be when you grow up? Like if there would be no limitations, no restrictions at all, and if you could be anything or anyone, what would it be and why?
Well, I wouldn't want to be anyone other than myself, um, which is kind of cool. And honestly, I feel like I just want to be the best me that I can be, and I know that I'll keep working on it until my last breath. But yeah, it's not a, I mean, I'd love to do things like travel. I'd love to support moms, just kind of letting them know they're doing a good job and I see them, and maybe it's just the moms that I know, but um yeah, just to be a supportive person, a good the best I can be. I feel like that's what I aspire to be. I'm kind of simple, but yeah.
But yet profound all at the same time. So what do you want people to remember about you?
Hmm. Hmm. The way I made them feel, that they felt loved and accepted when they were with me, and that um if I was tough on them, it was out of love. And yeah, I think that's it. I did
Hmm.
my best.
How beautiful is that, right? Because there's really nothing else. I did my best. Ultimately, if we all could stop right there, right? Always in our lives, in a way, it would be, well, remembering that about ourselves and remembering that about everybody around us as well, right?
Yeah, and that it's enough, right? That doing our best. I mean, who could ask for more of you than that?
Mhm. It reminds me of, like the Four Agreements, Domingos Ruiz says, it's like, and the best is not the same today as it is tomorrow. And, but always give your best, right? Whatever that means for you at that moment. And sometimes it's just taking a nap because that's all you can do. uh, so never comparing your best from one day to the next, which is the priceless as well. But it's beautiful that you bring that up, right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for not wanting to be anyone else. That's priceless too, right? We always are like, oh, I could be a little bit more. And it's not, I've been thinking about this, I'm perfect and there's always room for improvement, right? Perfect, perfect. I wouldn't really need to have to change anything. And if I want to, there's always space for improvement, right? Like that peace that comes from saying that. And again, like how our world would look like when we all could embrace a little bit more of that. It's okay. It's okay. So, last question, my love. What are you most proud of, or what do you consider your biggest accomplishment? And maybe it's the same.
Yeah, I think there's a theme going on here. I feel like, I mean, my children are my greatest pride and accomplishment, and just the people that they are becoming are all on their own. That really has nothing to do with me, but I got to, be part of the foundation. Um, just get to do life with them. It's just such a gift. And I don't know why I'm so emotional today. I'm not even on a hormone cycle. I don't know what's happening. Um,
Okay, don't make it wrong. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I know it feels uncomfortable, but it's so beautiful if people can be moved by, I'm going to say, their greatness
Or how extraordinary your life is.
and the blessing that it is to be you, and the honor and the privilege that it is to be on this journey.
Around you.
Yeah. And on this journey with these most amazing beings that you call your children. I mean, when we recorded the podcast with Serena, I'm telling you, I cried the whole way through. So never apologize for it.
well, thank you for the opportunity to like pause and, you know, think about my life and how grateful it is and how extraordinary my simple life is. And yeah, it's challenging, but it's very cool. So thank you.
Yeah. And we really want you to own the magic that you bring to the world. Like you bring your own, we each bring our own extraordinary magic to the world, right? And it may not be for everyone, um, but those who are on the receiving end of your magic are, we can't get enough of it. So, we are so happy to have you in our world and happy to be celebrating you today. So thank you.
Thank you. Ditto. I love you guys. Love what you're doing here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for all of you out there who are here and listening. And if you love this, please leave us a review. Please share, have other people be inspired. And please always remember, you are extraordinary. You rock. Until next time. Christina, you want to say bye?
Bye for now.